Right, hi everyone, welcome back along to the channel. Today I have got my Holga Wide Pinhole Camera with me again today, and you'll notice I have an elastic band around it. This is to hold the shutter open because I've kind of had enough of the shutter system. All my cable releases aren't working too well. I've found a few issues with it, which I'll probably go through in another video when I try to sort it out. So all I'm doing today is holding the shutter open, and to take my exposure I'll just pop the cap off, similarly like you get with the Harman Titan pinholes and a few others, and then just put the cap back on to end the exposure. So hopefully that's all light tight. We'll find out. I've got it loaded with some Ilford Pan F50 today. It's really windy, which is why I'm doing this bit in the car. So I'm going to see if I can find some windy photos which are affected by the wind with lots of movement and stuff. Hopefully it won't be too wobbly with the camera, but we'll find out. There's another little experiment today, so we'll crack on and see how we get on. So first exposure I've got about a second, so it's quite quick actually. That's mostly down to all the amount of light bouncing off the chalk face here. So it's going to be quite a quick one. Might not get a lot of movement, but I'm hoping to get some of this grass in the foreground moving. Obviously I've got all the motion on the waves. Let's take it. And wiring this thing on to, and then upside down 3. There we go, on to the next shot. I love this tree up here. I've photographed it many times, and I will continue to do so for years. Probably first time in a 6x12 format, so I've got a 2-second exposure here. Hopefully should get quite a bit of movement with this, but not too much. Yeah, definitely one of my favourite trees. I love it here. See how we go. So on days like this, it's nicer to have the slightly shorter exposures, the 1 seconds and 2 seconds. What you find is if you go too long, the 10, 20, 30 seconds plus, everything that's kind of moving completely blurs out and becomes pretty much invisible. So I'm hoping today, because we've got a nice bright sun and sky today, that the shorter exposure should work out about right for the shots that I'm trying to get. It's not the best of the shutter system I've got. Cable release for certainly shorter shots is a lot nicer, but I'm making do at the minute. But apparently we've got some stronger wind coming in the next few days, so even more fun hopefully. So we'll see how that one goes. Okay, I'm down the beach. I love it down the beach with the weather's like this. I was planning on going to another section of the beach, but we've got so many tourists down here at the minute, it's an absolute nightmare. So I've come this end, I'm going to see what shots I can get down here, hopefully not getting too wet, and then yeah, I think I have 4 more shots to get through, so we'll see what we find down here before heading somewhere else. I've only got about a 1.5 to 2 second exposure, so I'll need to try and time this right to get a nice wave crashing through the rocks. The camera's quite wobbly, so I've got to try and get in the way of the wind to reduce that down a little bit. So here we go. So we've got the big ones coming in over here. Keep an eye on them. Thinking a shot looking straight down could be quite nice, so I'm actually sitting on the tripod to hold it still. Yeah, don't know unless you try, remember. Okay everyone, so that's all 6 shots gone. The Holga's finally had a soaking from the sea, first of many. We'll get them developed, scan them, and go take a closer look at them. See you in a minute. Okay everyone, so we're back. All the photos have now been developed and scanned. And this was the first shot. This is the shot on Beachy Head, looking over towards the lighthouse down here. What surprised me of this actually is when I first done my first 2 rolls of film through this, I had no vignetting. This is an issue which some of the Holgas seem to get, and I presume that this camera was absolutely fine, but for some reason on this roll of film you can start to see in a couple of the corners, I can't see it down here, a heavy vignette which is caused by the hole from around the pinhole. And yep, for some reason it wasn't there on my first shots, but it's here on some of these. So what has happened there, I have absolutely no idea, but there we go. This seems to be the joy of a Holga. Now another thing with this image is a few of them have got this bit of a blur section down here. I think because these were quite short exposures, this is possibly from when I've removed the cap and then pulled my hand around from that corner. So I'm wondering if that had just kind of blurred the image out slightly, and then obviously coming back to put the cap on was down in this corner. I can only presume that is what that is from, but who knows. We'll figure it out as we go along. So the first shot I'm actually quite pleased with. It actually works really well with the 6x12 format. Changing formats from, say, like my normal 4x5 to something like a 6x12 can take a little bit of time to get your head around, but this is a shot which I think really works well with it. It's a shame about the blurring and the little vignette up here, but it is where it is. It's a spot I know I could go back to and retake it on a better day and eliminate them problems. So that's the first shot. Let's move on to our second, and that was over at this windy tree. So this I really like. Again, I've got a bit of blurring down this side, but surprise, surprise, there's no vignette up here at all. So this whole thing has completely confused me, but there's nothing up here. It's fine for this shot. We've got another funny dark edge up this end, so it could be partly to do with shadowing from something, but it shouldn't do because the sun was over in this direction. As the shot goes, I really like it. The shorter exposure times just blur this out enough. I've done these before where you go on too long and this just becomes an absolute blurred out mess with no recognition whatsoever. But the foreground in this I really like. It's recognisable, you can see what's in, and then you've still got this nice blur coming through it from all the wind. So I'm pleased with that. Again, it's another shot I think works well with the 6x12. You've got to normally have a good sky day if you're going for anything different, but that I think has worked quite well. So then we headed to the beach, and this happened. Now, I've been told that we just need to embrace the Holga, the light leaks, the inconsistency of it and everything, but what has happened here I have absolutely no idea. This shot seems to have, it may have been very slightly overexposed, but it's got this funny line coming up here. It's got this completely odd dark section up here. Again, you can see part of the vignette from the hole around the pinhole. But apparently I'm meant to embrace this. This is what seems to come out from when I say anything about a Holga. It's a Holga and you should love it. But yeah. But apart from that, I'm kind of a bit gutted because this could have been a really nice shot. I love the timing on the wave was absolutely spot on with all the splash and spray coming up all along over here as well. The motion in the water, it's just a bit of a shame it's ended up how it is. Again, normally when we get big waves, it's normally very overcast and dark, so the exposure is a lot longer and it blurs everything out maybe a bit too much, whereas this particular day was really nice. It was bright sunshine, so it allowed for them 2-3 second exposures. But again, I can go there again when I've sorted the Holga out, or I'll just take my old Ondu 6x12 next time maybe. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to modify the Holga. I'm going to try and sort some of the issues out with it. But I must embrace it, apparently. So after this, we pointed the camera down from the ledge I was standing on for this shot. This I actually quite like. I probably should have pointed it a little bit further up, but it's nice to see the motion in the water. This is something I really like, that slightly long exposure in rough seas. You can see all the rocks and stuff and the water just crashing around it. But this shot seems right, no light leaks, no heavy vignetting. We've got this little thing down here, which is the Holga hanging over the edge. Reminds me a little bit of Wally. Poking over, seeing what's going on. But considering the state some of the other shots have come out with, I'm quite surprised at that one. Then after that, we headed to the rocks. And again, this isn't too bad. There was no vignetting in this one. I think I might have slightly overexposed it. But for some reason, again, this side seems really dark, which seems to be a bit of something happening in most of the images. And this side, really light. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there, whether there's a bit of shadowing caused by the hole around for the shutter system for the pinhole, whether that's just causing a little bit of a shadowing coming through. I have no idea if that would even affect it, but there we go. Okay, then we went on to the last shot, which was where the Holga got a little bit of it's a christening, got a little bit soaked by the water. Unfortunately, it didn't float away. I've still got the thing, but here it is. I really like this. This is, again, I love the motion in the water. I love to see all this around here. The exposure times were probably about spot on. Too much longer, like I say, you just get a solid blur. On this, you can kind of see all the, almost like smoke coming around it. I'm going to come up here, and we've got some heavy vignetting around here. Embrace it, embrace it. Can't see it up here obviously because we had one of the groins, I presume, blacken that out. It did have a little bit of a wobble, which I kind of expect from where I'd placed it. It got surrounded by the wave, which will wobble the tripod a little bit, so it has ended up doing this, which is fine. For a shot like this, it's not something I really worry about. But it's certainly another shot that in the 6x12 I think could work well. So a lot of what I'm doing at the moment is kind of really trying to figure out what works with this format. Like I say, I've been used to the 4x5 for so long. I kind of have that format set into my head. So switching over to something different can take you a little while to kind of get used to what it is you're doing and what it is you're seeing and what works, what doesn't work. And I think I've learned quite a little bit from this shoot. But like I say, I've got to sort a few things out on it to make me happy with the camera, or just spend out and get a decent 6x12. And figure out some of these issues. But I will be doing that. I will be doing that soon. The shutter system is something that's really been bugging me on it a little bit, as none of my cable releases seem to work too well with it, and I'd ordered another one and that was even shorter than my other ones, so I'm going to have to try and source something for that. But there we go. I really hope you've enjoyed the photos. I hope you embrace them more than I may. And I think next time I'll be modifying this camera or launching it off a cliff, one of the two. We'll see how that goes, but I'll be back out with my 045 probably next week I would imagine. So make sure you subscribe for that, I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, let's see how we get on with this thing. Hopefully one day it'll be worth it. Anyway, thanks for joining me folks, and I'll see you next time I'm out.